Hello and welcome. I'm Sigrún with Universal Pagan Temple, and we are going to be uh, covering a few topics this evening, about three. And I hope everyone is doing well. Hello and greetings, everybody. Swamp Sacks, Tribal Defender, hello. Don't forget to like the stream. You would really help me out if you did that. Yeah, a couple of things we're going to be covering this evening is the entire hello Vidar, hi. Um, the Epstein files I want to address first and foremost is that it's just been on the news constantly for, well over the past week and a half. Hello, Illuminations. And I wanted to address the Epstein files. I don't know if anybody else is feeling this way, but ever since I did that reading just about 2 weeks ago, a Rune reading on the fallout of the Epstein files, um, I guess I picked up some negative energy from that. Not to sound like a complete new ager, but other people are speaking up about it, especially a pagan astrologer friend of mine, Fiona Edgar. If you don't follow her, please do. She is a terrific astrologer. I mean, I'm kind of like, I can do a natal chart, a synastry chart, but she is fantastic. She does all sorts of deep dives on astrology, so please make sure to follow her. Her name's Fiona Edgar, once again. She posted something on Facebook that I saw this morning about energy vampires and this whole thing with the Epstein files. And the whole thing with the Epstein files is I've been noticing like this dark energy that has, just kind of sucked my energy out since I did those readings on the Epstein files. And I know I picked up a cold right after that, but that cold has been going around the country pretty much. And I picked it up from my husband and my son, but it's just like, it just sucks the energy out of you. And then just seeing this whole thing with Pam Bondi today, where she would rather talk about how the stock market is doing as opposed to, actually getting down to, the Epstein files. Why were they being covered up? Who was involved? What are you going to do about it? And I really hope Pam Bondi gets fired at this point. She is just absolutely terrible. And it just pisses me off so much. But yeah, just the pull of that. It's like darker than Christianity itself, like the energy that I pick up from these e-crusaders online, darker than the energy I felt from Erica Kirk, this whole thing with the Epstein files. They're not, Epstein wasn't a pagan. He wasn't doing pagan rituals. My friend Hammer and Vidar, he did a great video, and I'm going to link it right here, on how the Epstein files are not, or Epstein wasn't a pagan, that he was actually, just he was Jewish and everything he was doing was Abrahamic. Yeah, Fiona's great. Yeah, she's on YouTube. She is more on Substack nowadays. Very good, you found her already. Yeah, her explanation, she is 100% a pagan astrologer. She is not a New Age astrologer. And she is not, I've seen Christian astrologers, which are, goofy. Yeah, she's 100% a pagan astrologer. She is Irish, but she moved to Denmark recently with her husband. And yeah, but anyway, getting back into it, yeah, the darkness I've felt since the whole Epstein files thing dropped has lasted for quite a while, and I just wanted to address that and see if anybody else is picking up on that shit. picking up on that energy where it's just like a black hole of psychic vampire. And if you don't know what a psychic vampire is, if you've never encountered one, you probably have. It's like somebody that you talk to, and after you talk to them, you just feel absolutely drained. It could be a high intensity conversation or a low intensity conversation, but you just feel like you just want to take a nap right after, and your energy level is just fine prior. That's what I feel with the whole entire Epstein file thing. And I don't feel that with anything else I've been covering on this channel recently, like Turning Point USA, Christianity, Trump. I don't get that with that. It's just, they worship status and money. Yes. They believe nothing but money. Yes, the negative side of Fehu. And I actually linked a very good monologue from a movie on my X profile. I don't know if you saw that earlier, where this character just explains in detail what money is now. So that's the whole entire, prospect of Fehu. It's good and bad, but it's the energy behind all things. Money is the energy behind all things because, our energy turns into money. That is how we are rewarded for our efforts. And eventually I would like to do an entire video series on each rune of the Elder Thufark in this, using sometimes media or music to describe some of these esoteric principles of the runes. But I wanted, before we get into the main sauce of the video, I wanted to address, the whole meeting with Netanyahu today. Big Daddy Netanyahu came and visited his favorite bitch, Trump, today. And, he got that big presidential escort into Washington, D.C. And I've actually seen other presidential escorts. Like I saw, what is the president, or is he called the Prime Minister of China, years ago, like 10 years ago, come into Seattle. And at that time I was working in Edmonds and driving from, north, we lived up north beyond Everett, Washington, and I drive south to go into Edmonds. So you go on I-5 in Washington State, and the entire northbound part of I-5 was completely empty, which usually was not. And apparently it was the president of China at the time going, to an important meeting in Seattle for whatever reason. And I guess he landed in the Boeing airfield, which is in Everett. But I wanted to address what is going on because I made a tweet last night saying that Netanyahu was coming in. Okay, we can expect some shit going down with Iran pretty soon. So Trump says here, I have just finished meeting with Prime Minister Netanyahu of Israel and various of his representatives. It was a good meeting. The tremendous relationship between our two countries continues. Okay. More Israel simping. There was nothing definitive reached other than I insisted that negotiations with Iran continue to see whether or not a deal, and he capitalizes the deal, the D in deal, can be consummated. If it can, I let the Prime Minister know that will be preference. If not, we will just have to see what the outcome would be. Last time Iran decided that they were better off not making a deal. And they were hit with a midnight hammer. That did not work well for them. Hopefully this time they will be more reasonable and responsible. Additionally, we discussed tremendous progress being made in Gaza and the region in general. There is truly peace Peace. In the Middle East, not so much, dude. With supporting Israel like this, this administration, more than any other administration in my time of being aware of politics and being alive, has been more of an Israel simp than any other. I mean, even Bush Jr. wasn't this much of a simp for Israel, although you could kind of take all the whole thing with 9/11. Hi, Bonnie Crone. Hello. Yes, Big Boss BB. Why? LOL. He want money. Of course. Yes. Both Netanyahu and Trump. This is, a like situation. They're scratching each other's backs. They're in cahoots, as my mother would like to say, with each other constantly. We, the people, the common folk, lose out. And I always want to reiterate, the best way that we have out of this whole Zionist propaganda thing is by being pagan. And I know a lot of pagans are very much against proselytizing. But right now, especially after the Epstein files dropped, it put such a stink upon Christianity and Judaism that they're really going to have a hard time crawling out from under this. And, that doesn't exclude Islam, because funny thing is, none of our, higher powers here in the United States that were involved with the Epstein files, I don't think they're going to be held accountable for that. But you see in the EU, that their leadership is being held accountable for being involved with Epstein. But then on the flip side, they protect those Muslim rape gangs over there. So, it's not support, but servitude at this point. Exactly. And I'm actually hearing whispers of people that are kind of like saying, I'm not going to pay taxes anymore for this. Now, I'm live streaming. I can't condone that. Yes. Oh, the mattresses in the New York tunnels. That was the most disturbing news. That's like another black hole of the psychic vampire, but then it's just so fucking evil, That's just beyond words of how could you lack such empathy not to do that, or to do something like that. And the artwork that they found there and other places is just really disturbing. And they want to attach all of this to to Canaanite paganism, to the god Baal, but it's not really sticking, because pagans are saying, no, this isn't absolutely not us. And that's why I made this short last week, saying that there were no pagans in the Epstein files, is because I'm seeing this rhetoric start to go around, blaming pagans, and that's why I just put that in the chat earlier of, that video explaining, yeah, this is Abrahamic. The Epstein thing is Abrahamic. It's not pagan. Let's see here. Heathen Hammer, Christian niceties. I'm trying to remember what part of the centuries of Christian imperialism contain niceties. Well, yeah, if you look real closely with a microscope, and maybe if you have a couple of beers and you take things completely out of context, you're going to see some nice things in there, Yeah, you just have to completely change the narrative in your mind. Maybe have a bit of a migraine so you read things incorrectly. Yes, they hate Gentiles. The Hebrew God doesn't like us. Exactly. Yes. You got no notifications? Vril, that's not good. That means I'm kind of like partially shadow bound. I know you got some naughty slaps on the wrist earlier, and I hope I'm not banished to Rumble. I've had this channel since 2013. That's a long time. Yes, Bonnie Crone, this is an Abrahamic issue. Leave the pagans out of it. Exactly, but they want to bring us in because they refuse to accept that this is their problem. Anytime something goes wrong, they blame us. Yes, Luminations, exactly. But yeah, now that we're past that, I want to get into this lovely little article here. It's a guest essay on the New York Times. I don't know how much water that holds with the New York Times, but the New York Times is still a big deal. Donald Trump, Pagan King. And you kind of see Trump here looking a bit, like a Roman emperor, very Caesar-like. And he's holding a globe. And I kind of wonder if this is actually AI or if somebody actually did this, because I do kind of like this style. I'm not a fan of Trump at this point, but I kind of like this style. But yeah, it's missing. Alaska's over here. It's missing that. Anyway, this is by Leighton Woodhouse. And they say Prime Minister Mark Carney of Canada recently described the world that President Trump is dragging us into. The strong do what they can, but the weak suffer what they must. And, I kind of wonder where this author, this guy, where he's coming from. And I kind of had a brief read of this because I saw it being posted all over X. And I felt, like this would be something interesting to cover. But, this is obviously somebody on the left writing about Trump. At least they stopped insulting Palpatine by comparing Trump to him. I know. Trump isn't as good as Palpatine. He is not fascist enough. And, yeah. Yeah, they need the big bad wolf. I like wolves. They're cute. Anyway. The quote comes from Theseus' fictionalized account of negotiations between Athens and the rulers of the island of Melos in the Peloponnesian War. I know I just butchered that. The Meletians, who were no match for the Athenians, wished to remain neutral. Okay. They complained that Athens' demand that they submit to its rule was unjust. The Athenians responded that matters of justice exist only between equals, okay? Between those who are strong and those who are weak. There is only force. Well, yeah, the force of strength, the force of will. Okay, the dialogue is famous for its stark portrayal of the dictates of political realism. The world is not guided by ideals and values. It demonstrates. It is brokered only by power. That's true. Those who maintain power maintain, history and control. The Trump administration has adopted this philosophy as its own. In a recent interview with Jake Tapper, Stephen Miller said, "We live in a world in which you can talk all you want about international niceties and everything else, but we live in the real world, Jake. that is governed by strength, that is governed by force, that is governed by power. Now, force and power, strength, some of that is military, but a lot of that is money and how the money is controlled, manipulated, and some would say that the US is on the losing end of that with the gaining powers of China and Russia. I hear my husband talk about this constantly. And the threat of BRICS against the petrodollar and all that good stuff. Anyway, to sympathetic ears, Mr. Miller sounded refreshingly unsentimental. But the niceties he disparaged aren't just some naive fantasy. They are the values of Christianity. Oh, Jesus. The faith the Trump administration purports to defend and uphold. Yeah, you see that they're sending in some troops to Africa to defend the Christians there from the Muslims. I wonder how that's going to turn out. After defeating Melos in a siege, Athens slaughtered the island's men, enslaved its women and children. Such was the nature of the ancient world, a world that was, to borrow Mr. Miller's words, devoid of niceties and governed by power. Does that happen today? Pretty much. In his book, Dominion, the historian Tom Holland describes how it wasn't until Christianity came along that Western civilization derived the popular concept that the weak and the vanquished had any inherent moral value at all. Well, you hear some ancient historians talking about their enemies and, actually having nice things to say about the enemies. Telling ancient Greeks or a pre-Christian Romans that their treatment of slaves was morally wrong would have inspired not an argument, but bewilderment, as if you had told them that they were evil for the way they treated their kitchen utensils. Sounds like some vegans I know, to be honest. These pagans, and again, capitalize that P in pagan, motherfucker, come on, generally believe that their gods, capitalize that G in the word God, favored the strong and were indifferent to the weak. Well, there's differing, this is obviously somebody that is not familiar with paganism that has written this. That is not familiar with the pagan worldview and, the levels of, it's not the strong and the weak. Everybody has their place in the pagan world. There are definitely those who are weak and those that are strong, but, everybody has their place. Christianity upended these assumptions. Christianity took the Jewish God. Okay, the E-Crusaders are going to weep at that. So grab your tissues here. Who cared for the weak and knew the difference between good and evil, that can be argued. And made his message universal. It taught that all humans are God's creation. To oppress anyone, even a slave, is an offense before him. Even more than that, the weak are closer to God than the rich and the powerful. Well, you gotta remember that this ideology was forced upon the pagans to make them weak. I keep on emphasizing whenever I go into like a space where I feel like there's a bunch of woke pagans or woke Satanists, and they start complaining about the whole what's the word? Colonialism, and how Christianity is spread through colonialism. to these third world countries, I go in there in the comments and I remind them they got their experience by putting this on the Europeans first. Christianity is not a European religion. Anyway, let me look at some of these comments here. I'm sure they're very entertaining. Let's see here. Yeah, what a disappointment Trump was. Shaking my head. I agree. Yeah, exactly. The emperor who Christianized Rome and made it their official religion. Yes. There is only force and counterforce. Yes. They're not getting much pushback. Will against will. Yes. They're all about, yay, close to pushing Christian. Exactly. Oh, Jesus, another book of Christian salvation, of civilization. Auden, hello! They admit they're gods now? Yes, exactly. Auden, you're here to party. Hello! Don't forget to hit that like button, everybody. Let's see here. Yes, it's always... Yeah, I always use a lowercase when writing about the Abrahamic God. Yahweh, all lowercase. And I make it a point, and my autocorrect on my phone shits a kitten every time I try to do that. And it just so confused when I type out Jesus with a lowercase j. It just poops itself. Yeah, Jesus never had kids. We can't come from him. Exactly, unless, what was that one book that was super popular like 20 years ago? The Da Vinci Code. That shit. Yeah, it's for desert Middle Eastern people. And it's not even, you can consider Egypt a part of the Middle East, of course, and they had a pretty cool pagan faith. But it's just like this one. It's just, I hear the stories from the Bible, and it's just like, who are these people you're talking about? I just don't feel anything here. What are you talking about? And I felt that since I was a child, and I feel it now. It's like, who are these people you're talking about? This is like a fandom I have no interest in that you're talking about. That so you're telling me should be so important to me, but it's just like, if that's what you like, that's fine, but it's just like, don't push it on me. Cheesy Jesus can take a hike. Exactly. Yes. Yes, he can. Yeah, the Bible is boring. Yeah. Ask Frill. He's read the Bible at least 20 times. Let's see here. Anyway, this moral instinct is so ubiquitous today that we barely recognize it as Judeo-Christian. Now, there's no... all Christianity is Judeo-Christian. Or even as religious adherents of the world's other great religions have largely integrated it into their ethical framework, even if this tenet is not central to their faith. Is, well, being kind to others, is actually a part of other faiths before Christianity was even a thing. You can look at Buddhism, and a lot of paganism, they do have things about being nice to others. If you only just look a little deeper than just, this author is probably obsessed or only knows paganism through the lens of Christian history or through Hollywood. Anyway, I'm about to get angry here. It is the basis of the American Declaration of Independence and the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights. No, it's not. America was not founded on Christian ideals. We know this. They even said that at the time. And, okay, as Mr. Holland noted, even anti-Christian revolutionaries, from the Jacobins to the communists, owe their secular claims of human equality to Christianity. Do Christians? Are they kind? No, not so much. Indeed, this guy says, they are the most radical expressions of it. Yeah, communism. Yeah, that's a product of Judaism and Christianity for sure. Even though the Christians, they have a nervous poop when I bring that up. They hate it when I prove I know more than them. Exactly. Odin had way more children than Yeshua. Exactly, he did. Odin knew how to party. Yeah, party. You get blocked by all their big accounts. Good job. I haven't been blocked by a bunch of really big Christian accounts, just small, little piddly ones. You're already angry. Good. Let your anger fill you. It makes you powerful. Hello, 72 dragons. Okay, Vril, the funny thing I point out to them, that Satan doesn't rule hell. They got that from Looney Tunes, literally. Hey, Looney Tunes is funny. I like, Roadrunner and Coyote. I'm in the YouTube pipe smoking community. Oh. Most of them are boomer Bible thumpers. I lose like 10 subs minimum when I make a pagan perspective vid. Oh, I gotta check out your channel. What is it, like pot smoking, or is it actually like tobacco in a pipe smoking? Except no substitute, yes. Oh, nice. Templar pilled. Tradwest is one of those big accounts. Yeah, I mean, I use them for content and for humor, so I don't necessarily want to be blocked by them. Oh, tobacco pipes, cool. That is cool. So yeah, you're doing the whole Gandalf the Grey thing. That's cool. Anyway, okay, let's get back into the article. That's not to pretend that these lofty principles have effectively restrained great power. Okay. Mr. Carney is correct that international law has always been in part a lie. Yes. International norms haven't stopped the U.S. military from carrying out atrocities all over the world. Well, geez, Christians have been doing this for ages. Christian morality did not prevent medieval knights and the Catholic Church from massacring civilians, persecuting Jews, and committing genocides in the New World. Oh, you don't say! You don't say! It's like, yeah, Christianity is just it's like a nice little blanket that you could put on that makes you look good occasionally, but really you're just a piece of shit underneath. The American founders, so proud of their Christian piety. Some of them were, and some were actually very critical of Christianity, betrayed their religion in the most profound way. Many of them owned slaves. Well, at the time, Christianity was very much about, excusing slavery. They had their own way of excusing slavery. Anyway, unlike the pagans, capitalize that P. If you're going to do anything, just capitalize the P. Pagans of antiquity, however, these rulers had to answer to charges of hypocrisy. Really? Pagan rulers didn't have to answer to hypocrisy? Pagan rulers were usurped before the word usurped even was a thing. I mean, a lot of pagan rulers, you go to Egypt, to Greece, to Rome, they may have claimed, divine rulership, oh, I was blessed by the gods, or, in the Egyptians with the pharaohs, descendants of Horus himself, beloved by this, that, and the other god. Okay, but if you were a bad ruler, if bad shit kept on happening, you could get usurped. Either by people in your inner circle or, people on the outside. But most of the time, it was people within the inner circle that usurped, the ruler. So, hypocrisy, yeah, that would have been one of the reasons. Anyway, which corroded their credibility in a way that the Athenians never had to contend with. Yes, this existed. This entire sentence is just bullshit. Anyway, purportedly, Christian great powers could do what they wanted to, just as the Athenians declared. But unlike the ancients, they did so at a cost to their political legitimacy. No, this entire paragraph right here is just bullshit. If I was grading this as, like, say, a high school lit teacher, I would mark down like 15 points right here with a big red marker. And in the margins off to the side, I would write, historical references for you to look up. Let's get back to these comments here. I'm sure there's going to be some spicy stuff. Oh, you had some Astrovids. Good. No skin. Let's see here. We should all make at least a few Asatru heathen pagan vids, Sorensen says. Okay. Yeah, we really lack numbers on YouTube. Yeah, I mean, Norse Magic and Belief does a lot of the heavy lifting for the heathen community here on YouTube. And I've been thinking about, like I said earlier, making some videos on the esoteric principles of the runes, making them relatable to everyday life. But yeah. The church never massacred Europeans. I know, yeah. The church has been nothing but good. And we're just so evil, Yeah, Socrates was killed for pointing out the hypocrisy of the day. Yes. Got more comments to read here, and then, like, YouTube's not letting me. Okay, there it goes. Is this idiot insinuating hypocrisy ended with Christianity? 8 Illumination says. I guess they are. I mean, this is just... Yeah, yeah. Let's see here. I was reading your comments here. Oh, blacksmithing, that's cool. Yeah, it is hard to make YouTube videos when they strike you down. Yeah, like they use AI to like read or like listen to your voice and see if you say anything naughty. Like I said, I think I mentioned in a comment to you, like BitChute's an option, but Rumble, yeah, and then yeah, although the thing with BitChute is that you will be called every slur in the book and nobody will actually watch your videos, but then you'll like have like 200 views on a video. It's kind of funny. But yeah, that was my experience when I had a BitChute channel, and I just, deleted my channel off of BitChute because I was just kind of tired of that. Anyway, let's get back into the whole article here. All right, George W. Bush felt obligated to sell his invasion of Iraq in part on the righteous Christian premise that it would liberate oppressed Iraqis from Saddam Hussein's tyranny. No, he used the weapons of mass destruction. You weren't there in 2003. Come on, dude. I was there. I was a teenager, but I remember the entire... This was like maybe 5% of the argument. 95% of it was weapons of mass destruction. Anyway, after the Soviets invaded Afghanistan, the United States cast their mujahideen adversaries not just as tools for the U.S. foreign policy goals, but as freedom fighters. Yeah, I recall that. And that even, I'm going to make a James Bond reference. That was in, The Living Daylights? That they actually had mujahideen, or, actors playing them, in the movie. Anyway, American leaders, unlike Vikings or Spartans, had to make a moral case for the exercise of our power. No, they use examples of their gods. They said, things were divine or whatnot. This was, my god told me this, Odin told me that, Thor told me this. No, come on. This motherfucker. Anyway, it wasn't enough, he goes on to say, to simply say that we, as the strong, can do what is in our interest to do. Well, that's the entire thing with the Iraq War, is that the weapons of mass destruction, that entire argument. Anyway, we had to couch it all, however unconvincingly, in the framework that made it palatable to the Christian conscience. They don't have one, dude. And I'm like, this is kind of like where I thought that this guy must be, on the left and think that Christians are supposed to be one way, when really, like I said, Christianity is a blanket that people wear when they're really just shit inside. Paganism, we take responsibility for ourselves and our actions. Anyway, this may not have determined the shape of American foreign and domestic policy. Yes, it did with, Christian Zionism. That's for sure. Anyway, but it was the impossibility of making that case that ultimately contributed to the end of slavery and of European imperialism and American segregation. Not so much, because that was in effect within the heyday of Christianity. The moral framework mattered. Not so much, dude. Not so much. Yeah, the Christian conscience is an oxymoron. Exactly. There is none. Let's see here. That is the world we are leaving behind by brazenly jacking Venezuela for its oil. Is that any different from Iraq? I wonder how old this guy is. And threatening to acquire Greenland against its will. Again, I wonder how old this guy is. The U.S. is acting as the ancient Greeks, the ancient Persians, and the Germanic tribes conducted themselves, brutishly, without shame or apology. This dude must be under the age of 25. I mean, there's no way. There's just no way. But even in that, if you study history, the Christians acted this way themselves for centuries. They conquered through their ideology, and they act, they preached one way, but acted another. At least the pagans were, consistent with, what their gods were. They had gods of war. It wasn't just, oh, Jesus loves you, but here I've got a sword for you if you don't convert, and I'll chop your head off. At least, with the pagans, you knew what you were getting. It wasn't a falsehood. It wasn't a bait and switch. It wasn't a lie. You knew when you were facing off against the Greeks or the Romans what you were up against, because you knew the gods that they worshipped. You knew about the Vikings, the Norsemen, and their war gods, what you were up against. With the Christians, you don't really know what you're up against because their God shows you this, turn the other cheek mentality, but then they attack you anyway. It's a bait and switch. Kind of to quote Golem Schmiegel, wicked, tricksy, false. That is the Christian way. Alrighty, and the abdication of Christian values is already shaping the conduct of our government towards its citizens, as in Minneapolis, where immigration agents have killed 2 protesters. I've got a lot of opinions on that. Don't interrupt, feds. Come on. If you're that stupid, come on. The Trump administration appears unconstrained not only by the limits imposed by the Constitution, but by the standards of the average American conscience. Well, the American public is fed a lot of propaganda. Federal agents' treatment of both immigrants and the U.S. citizens. Come on, use illegal here. If I were the teacher here, I'd put in a little line here and right up the margin, illegal. And U.S. citizens in Minneapolis is the reflection of a government that has abandoned the moral instinct that it is wrong for the powerful abuse of the weak. Okay. I have been watching a lot of Karlin Boroshenko's videos. Okay. But even before I watched her, I was very much the mind that Trump is just not doing enough. He is not the fascist dictator that the left thinks he is. He's not doing, enough. If he was, the whole Minneapolis thing would have been done in 2 days. Put you in charge, I'll show you unrestrained. Me too. I'm a little mean. Where's Carolyn Emmerich? Rumble? I don't know. Oh, she no longer makes videos. Oh, that's bad. Let's see here. Just looking at some of your comments. Okay, let's get back into it. But yeah, the whole thing with Minneapolis, it just made Trump look all sorts of weak. And the whole thing with, these are those protesters. They're socialists, they're communists. They want to overthrow the United States government. And Trump is not taking it seriously. And it's very frustrating to watch, but then it's very informative to watch, to realize just how much is not being done. And this is just propaganda speak right here. Let's see here. And then in this last paragraph, the headache's almost over, you all. J.D. Vance never tires of pointing out that America is philosophically a Christian nation, and that Christianity is under attack from his political enemies. Well, yeah, that's true that J.D. Vance has that point of view, but then his wife is Hindu, and his wife is expecting a baby. Anyway, such statements get big applause from the Trump-loving crowds he panders to. Yes, exactly. Trump Vance, they all pander to Christians. And I've been saying this these past couple of days, that the base of the Republican Party hasn't changed in the past 20 to 25 years, because they're still, pushing the whole country music, working class, when the Republican Party is just really just, big donors, just as the Democratic Party is. But anyway, but the administration he serves is doing more than any Antifa foot soldier. This is a bullshit statement. But the administration he serves in is doing more than any Antifa foot soldier to dismantle that philosophy as the fundamental bias of our government's political legitimacy. To the people leading this administration, Thucydides' famous aphorism isn't just a acknowledgement of reality, is the image of the world that they wish to make. And I'm guessing that this author is just assuming all this bullshit, and they've never actually been on the other side or been critical of both the left and the right. Emperorville, you will be my minister of propaganda. Okay, then I can fix Star Wars. Yes. Yes, I will, everything will be of the quality of either Clone Wars, of the whole season 5 arc where Darth Maul takes over Mandalore, or it will be of the quality of The Empire Strikes Back for live action. Yes. And all music will be better too. I will make propaganda music. It will bring back marching bands that are very good. Let's see here. I found this guy's X account and told him I think his article is bullshit under his post for this article. Ooh, 8 illuminations. I love it. Yeah, it is bullshit. This is like his leftist propaganda mind can't comprehend that Trump and Vance are not, the fascist dictators that he thinks that they are. They're not good at it. And that's actually the true face of Christianity, is everything that he's describing that, Christianity isn't, and that paganism is. And then paganism, it is everything and all. It is everything that was before Christianity, and is everything that will be after Christianity. It's the true nature of the human spirit that will, survive all of this bullshit going on. Ooh, I like that one. No more Star Wars Acolyte. Yes, exactly. Oh, the Acolyte was that was the darkest point of the entire Star Wars publications of any sort. But yes, Acolyte was bullshit. And yes, I like that song. I'm so yes. You didn't watch The Acolyte. You didn't miss anything other than pain. If you want to inflict pain upon yourself, you can by watching that. Yes. But yeah, that's just a taste of what is out there. And when I'm making these videos, I always try to, find something worthwhile to share with the pagan community. My viewers here, I love you all. Something that, we can take away and learn something new with how, people, these Christians view us. And then this is obviously somebody on the left, how they view paganism. They view paganism as a negative, and they use the word pagan with the lowercase p, which... Oh, homemade brewed mead. I love mead. Oh, the acolyte? Woke? Imagine somebody taking the Sith code, and making it woke. I mean, and then literally seduced to the dark side. The so-called Sith character, he is bathing and he walks out of this like kind of pool, this pond, and he's, they don't show it full frontal, but the gal in the scene is staring at his junk, and it's just like, is this really Star Wars? This was written by a woman who needs to get laid. And needs what do they call it on the forums? She needs to be whacked with the horny stick to knock off the thirst posting. But yeah, it was that and like they had this like beaver character in it that just randomly just sabotaged something in the last episode that just didn't make any sense at all. Oh yes, she thought R2D2 was a lesbian. Yeah, I don't know if that was like, what was her name? The director. Yeah, and then she had her wife in it. And her wife played a Jedi in it with a lightsaber whip, and I understand that that was in Legends, okay, but yeah, the whole thing was handled pretty badly. I mean, the fights in it were okay. They were trying to outdo the prequel, and they didn't. The lightsaber fights in the prequel, the choreography, because you're not gonna beat out what happened in episode 1 with Ray Park. Ray Park as Maul, doing a good job as he did, and then that entire lightsaber fight where they actually had to slow it down because the camera wasn't picking it up well enough, I guess, at the time when they got to editing it. But R2D2 has always been a lesbian. Oh yeah, there's some good things in Star Wars since Disney picked it up. I mean, Rogue One, the Star Wars animation's always good. They're not gonna screw that up. Yeah. She-Ra Bree was a great character, that became Luminara, right? Yeah, what was I gonna say? Andor, Rogue One, Star Wars animation's always good. The first 2 seasons of Mandalorian were good. I don't know what they're doing with this new Mandalorian movie that's coming out. They kind of bombed with the marketing on that. I'm really excited for Maul Shadow Lord, so once that comes out in April, I will not be streaming on Mondays. I will be very occupied on Mondays by watching that. But yeah, hopefully with the new direction, new leadership at Lucasfilm, they'll be doing a better job with Star Wars. Because it can't get much worse than Andor. Or not Andor, I'm sorry. Than The Acolyte. It can't get much worse than The Acolyte. That was the lowest point. I'll be having nerdgasms. Yeah, exactly. I did kind of... I thought for a moment, maybe I should start a Star Wars channel. Yeah, Darth Maul. Yeah, Maul Shadow Lord. If you like Star Wars animation, it's good, but if you've only seen the movies, then you'd have to catch up on why and how Darth Maul is alive. Um, I'll just spoil it because it's been out for like almost 15 years now. Uh, Maul survived being bisected by Obi-Wan Kenobi just by being really angry. The dark side of the Force kept him alive, and they actually handled his resurrection very well. And I actually saw a very good video by this one Star Wars channel. I can't remember the name of it, but it's ran by a woman. She's English. She said if Lucas was still in charge of Star Wars, he would have like edited the prequel trilogy to show Maul surviving in it. Um, and that does make a lot of sense because Lucas was, one to, edit his work afterwards. I myself, as an artist, I see my artwork that I did when I was in high school, and I'm like, oh, I could touch this up and make it better. I'm the same way. But yeah, anyway, Maul survives. He's on a trash planet for like 11 years. Yeah, it's they actually did it really good. And then the voice actor that they have for Maul, um, I'm gonna warn you, don't look at his social media because he is a full-blown liberal wanker on the level of Mark Hamill. So I just don't pay attention to any actors and what they say about politics because they're all stupid. But yeah, he does a tremendous job with the voice acting. Um, and then just the way that it's written, it's really good. And there's like select episodes of the Clone Wars that you can watch just to keep to catch yourself up. It's like maybe 15 episodes that you would have to watch. Um, and then like yeah, then you're all caught up. I mean, there's other parts where like shows the end of Maul's story. Um, and you don't necessarily have to watch that unless you want to, because he's going to be a what do you call it? Animated character from now on. I don't think that they're going to ever get a actor to play him in live action again because Ray Park really fucked up. um, he was posting revenge porn, and he has a severe drinking problem and drug problem of some sort where he just can't do live action anymore. I mean, I guess they could get somebody else that knows wushu as well as he does and just put the paint on him, but it's just handled so much better in animation anyway. Yes, I need to read Darth Plagueis. Yeah. I mean, I saved it to my phone where, I can listen to the audiobook, and I need to do that when I'm, doing my regular thing during the day. Yeah, I know I've chatting about Star Wars at the end of the Pagan stream. That's just what we do here on this channel. Um, it's okay. My husband, he will start to rant about music and musicians the same way I rant about Star Wars. Um, and yeah, I'm going to be helping him with his own tarot reading channel here pretty soon. So I guess as he starts to do lives, he may encounter the same thing. But it's just all a way to communicate with my audience. Stuff outside of paganism, I'm fine with everybody changing the topic of the chat. So, but yeah, Star Wars is one of my huge interests. Um, but yeah, and if anybody wants to ask any questions right now about anything, please feel free to go ahead. I'm cool with that. I'll stay on for a little while longer. Um, see if anything's going on X right now. If there's yeah, because the whole are we going to be going to war for Israel on the behalf of you know, going to war on behalf of Israel in Iran, or is Russia, China going to have a say in that? Hey! Hi there, sir. Hi. We got an appearance from my cat Debo. He wants another can, I'm sure. I'm very impressed with how Japan is dealing with Muslims right now. They're just gonna straight up go and kick them out. You're dodging the draft. Okay. Yeah, go to your doctor and say that you definitely, you know, find something. I mean, there's quite a few things that will exclude you from the draft. You know, if you've ever had a seizure, there's one. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. What if they start drafting women on the sake of feminism? Hopefully I'm too old for that. If you have children. Debo, what do you think about that? Please give us your thoughts and opinions, being a cat. And do you have any esoteric knowledge you wish to share with us besides licking your butt? Hey. But let's see here. Is there anything going on? Yeah, I guess, what? Hey, dude. Well, anyway, I think that I'll end this stream here pretty soon, unless you all have... Yes, Debo! Please let us know about your opinions on the draft. Are you going to be drafted? You are an old man, after all. Oh, honey! Hi, sweetie! Hi, sweetie! Oh, gosh. I can't even read chat right now with your little butt. Hi, sweetie. Well, my cat has officially hijacked the chat. This is his stream now. He is an old man. He's probably like 20 years old. Anyway, I think I will end it for this evening, and you know, if anything interesting comes up in the next couple of days, we'll do another stream. Continuing, I've got a lot of pagan books to read right now. But anyway, thank you all so much for joining me, and until next time, hail the gods. Remember, take care of your animals that are sacred to gods that you may worship. Yes, this guy right here, I have a different table that I usually do put my laptop on for streams. He was laying on that table. Now he's usurped it. Now it's his table. Now this is his table as well. You see, this is how you learn about usurping. You just take what you want when you want it, and you don't have any hang-ups about what anybody says. And yes, I'm happy I'm not doing a reading right now. He has threatened you. He is in charge, even though he's an old man. By the way, before I started this stream, we saw a mouse in our garage, and none of our cats are good with catching mice. Share your pagan book reading list. Okay. I've got the books by Hammer and Villar that I have to read. Um, and then I've got the book on, you know, pagan pagan religion by Norse Magic and Belief that I have as well. Um, the Adam Green book that just came out, The Jesus Deception. I'm in the middle of reading that. Freya Aswynn's autobiography. I have to read that. Can we not lick our butt? What else? I got this book on Sadir magic, Sideways, that I have to read. And what else? Oh, yes, I got the updated translation of the Prose Edda by Jackson Crawford that I have to read through. And, I've read the plenty of translations, the Prose Edda, but it's been a couple of years since I read my last one, so I do want to read this one. And then I do want to, I'm kind of debating on what type of book I want to write. Like a general introduction to paganism would be a good book to write, or a general, introduction on how to do rune readings. Not necessarily rune magic, because I've got some information that, it could be dangerous to, if you don't know runes well enough to use in magic. How's the Adam Green book? I want it. It's good. I'm only a few chapters in. It's pretty good. Oh, you found a old copy of Leaves of Yggdrasil at Half Price Books. I miss Half Price Books. I don't have one near me, and it makes me so sad. Felt like I won the lottery. Copies of that are expensive on eBay. Yes, exactly, because that one is out of print. And then her Northern Mysteries and Magic, Llewellyn tried to stop printing, but they're still printing out copies. Freya told me that they actually, the workers at Llewellyn's publisher were boycotting, because Llewellyn was going to stop printing her book because of her political beliefs, where she's, very anti-Muslim immigration to Europe. You're not a dumbass. They just lied to you. An introduction to escaping Christianity. Well, I've published books before on Amazon. Would they let me publish something like that? I would want to write a non-woke version of a paganism book on, the basics of paganism. Because one really hasn't been written, especially from a woman's point of view, that, I think the community could use. And, there's different tools now for editing that I didn't have before, that I can utilize to, help me read my book, which has always been a problem for my dyslexic ass. Just checking to make sure there's not a cat hair in my tea. As somebody has decided to do his licking. But yeah, that is my pagan reading list. So 7 books, and then I've got more that I want to read. And then, as I start to prepare, because I want to write my own, yeah. Hey, mister. Alrighty, well, thank you all so much for joining me. Again, this is Sigrún, and this is Chivo. uh, and until next time, hail the gods. You turd!